Hey, what's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard, sports journalist here at Ballard Sports Media. Hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. Really love and appreciate each and every one of you out there. We're on our way to, I don't know, basically 2,000 subs. I don't have a time frame for when I want to get there, but let's just keep growing the channel. Let's definitely get the watch hours back up. We had them up pretty high at one point, but I know I've kind of slacked off. School and work gets in the way. Now I'm kind of back in Florida, catching my breath a little bit. I have more time than I think, and I'm trying to get back to posting something every couple days if I can. But what we want to do today, how wrong was I with the BSM preseason top 25 compared to the AP poll? Let me go ahead and throw up my top 25 from this year. Texas number one. I think we all know by now Texas is the number one team. And actually, I got the top four teams pretty darn close. I think you got to switch Clemson and Ohio State. We'll look at the AP top 25 itself here in a minute. But I had some teams in there that I am personally high on, and I still am. I'm high on Georgia Tech. I'm high on a team like West Virginia and Rich Rod. You could look at this top 25 and say, man, were you smoking some weed or something? Like, were you high when you did this poll? Uh, no, I wasn't. There are teams that kind of slipped my mind. I think we could agree on teams like Syracuse probably going to be good in there. Illinois, Iowa. I hope we can agree on Iowa. I'm very high on what they could bring offensively. They always got the defense. I like them to hit the over and win total this year. I think they're at 7.5, and I made a bet with Uncle Lou. I had Auburn in there. I don't like them to like make the SEC title or anything, but having teams like Georgia and Alabama at home, those are always their toughest games, those rivalries, because those are two really premier programs right now, Georgia and Alabama. I got both of them in my top 10. I got Georgia at 5, I got Alabama at 6. I got Miami in the top 10. I got LSU. I got Oregon. I got Notre Dame. This is to start the season. Now, you're going to have some week one games like Notre Dame, Miami. You're going to have Clemson, LSU, Texas, Ohio State to begin the season that you look at and you say, well, someone's going to have to fall out of the top 10, right? So why are we even putting them there? Because they have potential going into that game to win that game. There's a lot I could say on that, but this is my top 25. Use it as a reference. Let's go ahead and throw up the actual AP top 25, which I think is pretty accurate. It's much more accurate than what I have. So I had my top. Keep in mind my top four: Texas, Penn State, Clemson, and Ohio State. Keep that in mind. We're gonna full screen the actual top 25 from the AP. Uh, and they have Texas, Penn State, Ohio State, and then Clemson. Now we throw this back up. I was right on until Clemson and Ohio State. I got the top two teams. I think we could all agree in a way that Texas and Penn State have the most returning production. Uh, Coming back this year, great defenses. Really, it's kind of one of those things where with Sark, you're going to get that great offense for Texas, and with James Franklin and what he's had on defense, Penn State's got to be one of the top two, if not three or five or whatever teams in college football to have a really good defense. They might even have the best defense out there. Peter Woods for Clemson comes back. They bring back some guys in the secondary. Cade Klubnik returns. Phil Maffa. There's a lot of different guys. I think Phil Maffa returns. I don't have that in my notes, but there's some teams that got ranked. There's some teams that I actually got I guess I kind of got them. So here's what I had. I had Illinois too low. They came in top 15 at number 12. I had them at 21. I got South Carolina at 12. They're actually at 13. Okay, cool. I did not rank Florida. I couldn't bring myself to do it. I just couldn't. I don't know why that is. I don't even know why they're in the top 15 right now. I get they want to spot the ball with DJ Lagway. I understand all that. Oklahoma's in here. I didn't think to put them in here. They finished strong, but they also lost a couple key pieces and, got to figure some stuff out, especially losing Jackson Arnold to Auburn, man. Now, John Mateer is probably going to be okay at quarterback and probably really good. I need to see it, though. There's just some teams out there like in Oklahoma that are ranked that I just say, for me personally, I still got to see it. And maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. Texas A&M got in there. Indiana's in there at 20. I had them at 14. Ole Miss is ranked. Again, I didn't think to put them in there. I wanted to put a group of 5 team in. They had Boise State. I had that. I'm also high on a team like Marshall. You could basically, it's fun to make these preseason rankings. It's even more fun to see what the AP comes out with. Now, again, the AP rankings are meaningless. It just gives you an idea of who you're going to mess with and watch this season. Who's going to be good teams? 9 times out of 10, at least all top 25 teams have 6+ wins. Now, we saw what Florida State last year ranked pretty high. They went 2-10. Is there a team in the top 25 this year that ends up having a really bad season? It's a possibility. Uh, I want to take this off and I want to look at the actual top 25 itself. Bottom line for my top 25 is this: I was dead wrong. I think I got some of the teams in the top 10, but I think it's obvious for everybody that as you go down the rankings, it gets harder and harder and harder to figure out what the Associated Press or the AP is going to do. And it's pretty similar to the coaches poll. I guess like the top three kind of switch a little bit. Texas is the valued number one team. Penn State at 2, but at 3 in the coaches poll. Georgia's top 4 in the coaches poll. Here they're not top or top 4. I don't know. There's a lot of switch up between the AP and the coaches poll. But the point being, I was very wrong on some of what these teams are. Now, that's not to say, throw this back up, that Georgia Tech can't get in there. They're not ranked. They had gotten 63 votes. BYU got in there with 156 votes, outside looking in. I don't even have them. Um, who else did I have on here? I didn't have Utah. They're not ranked, but they're kind of, got some votes to be in the poll. They put Texas Tech in there. Who they didn't put in there that I had was Illinois. Um, They didn't get any votes. Basically, I'm gonna say what probably most of you want to say in the comments section right now. Ballard Sports Media should never do another top 25 poll. I'm not gonna take your advice because it's fun to predict this stuff. To be fair, if I had a good defense, like, hey, why is your poll so screwed up? Well, you tell me. I mean, did we expect TCU to make a national title run a few years ago? Did we expect Penn State to make it as far as they did last year? I mean, you just never know with some of these teams. I guarantee you half of this top 25 is not going to look like this at the end of the season. I guarantee you might have some teams like Baylor. You might have a Utah. You might have Louisville or USC. These other teams that got some votes. Um, that didn't make it in. You Auburn didn't get it. Well, they got 10 votes. Auburn has potential if they can figure out their quarterback situation. I'm not saying they're top 10, top 15. probably not even top 20, but that 21 to 25 range, who's to say by the end of the season they don't have a good enough record at like 8-4, 9-3, something like that. If they play their cards right, it can be bottom half of the top 25. Uh, I just I was dead wrong on my top 25. I'm not gonna stop making predictions. I'm not gonna stop YouTube. I'm not gonna stop making top 25 videos, uh, in any way, shape, or form because it's fun. But to answer the question in this video, how wrong was I? Man, whew, I'm kinda like everyone that picked Florida State to do anything major last year. They went 2-10. Nobody saw it coming. It was funny when it happened because they spent the whole offseason crying about the ACC, but even still, it's like, well, they're still, probably gonna make the 12-team playoff. They might win the ACC again. They'll be one of the best teams. They go 2-10. Stuff like this happens in college football, really in all of sports. You come up with these predictions, you're high on teams compared to other people, and honestly, your opinion doesn't matter at the end of the day because it's not the real thing. My poll does not mean jack squat to the Associated Press, the coaches, the playoff committee. They're not looking at people like me. They're not even looking at people like Uncle Lou. They're probably not even looking at people such as Mark Rogers. Now him and Lou got more insight than I do, but still, it's one of those things that it's just fun to predict. There's optimism for a lot of teams out there, and nobody's gonna agree on the same 25, 30 teams. It's just not gonna happen. I'm optimistic for teams like West Virginia, for Marshall, for Auburn, for Baylor, and the Associated Press is optimistic for teams like Ole Miss, who I think I did have in there, but they're not as high. They got Florida, they got Kansas State. They got Indiana and Boise State. I mean, they got a lot of teams that I had, but they're lower on some, they're higher on some. Some of them we kind of agree with in the middle. Eh, no two rankings are the same. No two brains are alike when it comes to college football. Really, that's just life in general, right? We're all unique. Um, but I don't know. I failed to make the perfect top 25. Now, I'll do it next year in the preseason and it'll be fun. We'll have to do some stuff this year before we have like all the CFP rankings and stuff. That'll be fun to do. I'd love some input. I'd love some feedback from you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments of the new AP Top 25. Trash me if you want to on my top 25, how wrong I was. I don't care. Man, the top 25's out. And by the way, it's more like it as fun as it is to predict this stuff, it's even more fun to see it come to fruition, and we finally have answers on what the AP thinks. Now, most of us, let's be honest, we don't care what they think. But if you're being honest, you still love to see what they think about your team. I mean, they put Alabama, my team, at number 8. I think that's perfect. I guess. Where did I have Alabama? Throw this up again. I had him at 6. But again, I get it. They had swapped in the top 10. I had Alabama ahead of Notre Dame and Oregon. Those are the 2 teams between Georgia and Alabama. Georgia at 5, Notre Dame at 6, Oregon at 7, then Alabama at 8. I did have Georgia at 5. Swap Ohio State and Clemson. And like I said, it's so easy to get the top teams in order or close to it. It's easy to do that. As the ranking goes on, it's harder to predict what the AP is going to do or what it should look like. That's my 2 cents on it. I love you guys. Jesus loves you. Keep your head up. God bless. And let me know your thoughts in the comments. I love y'all. We'll see you next time at Ballard Sports Media.